Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Red Alert lab. This is the video number 14. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been continuing our procedures and steps to secure our Active Directory from user credential theft. What we mean by user credential theft? This means hacking an account, so you can know a username and a password in the Active Directory that have powerful rights on the Active Directory. For example, if you have hacked the domain admin account in the Active Directory, you can do everything to the Active Directory. So how we can limit this kind of attack, or how we can prevent this kind of attack, I mean by hacking the Active Directory most important users, hacking them and knowing the password of them, we can limit this or prevent this by designing the Active Directory in a certain way, and to do a couple of things to separate the IT accounts, to have one IT account to manage the workstations and another IT account to manage the Active Directory. And another thing is to separate the Active Directory to tiers or zones. So you have tier 0 to be the most important zone, and then you have tier 1, it is less important, and then tier 2 and tier 3, and separate these tiers from communicating with each other. What we mean by communicating, we mean, for example, at tier 0, so if we go again to the graph, tier 0, this is the main OUs, or this is the main office. If we can simplify it, this is our domain, and this OUs are the main branch or the main office, and the Russian army is one of the branches, and the Ally army is another branch, and the Japanese army are another branch. So we have this as the most important tier. This contains our main office servers and domain controllers, and this is our tier 3 or tier 1 and tier 2. These are branches to our main office, and it contains less important servers, for example application servers for the Russian branch, and application servers for the Ally branch, and application servers for the Japanese branch. So this will be tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3, and then we will limit the access of our domain admin accounts in tier 0. We will limit it, or we prevent it from accessing workstations in tier 3 and tier 1 and tier 2. Okay, so by limiting them or preventing them from accessing tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 workstations, this will prevent the hacking of our account. So for example, if my domain admin account accesses one of the Russian army branch computers, if a hacker can hack this branch, he will know my domain admin account, and then he can hack the main branch and or the main office and all of the branches. But if my domain admin account will not be able to access any workstation in any branch, this will not help the hacker. So he will not be able to know my account, because it is not permitted, or it is prevented from accessing the workstations from the first place. Okay, so we will only limit the domain admin accounts to access the computers in the main branch, and it will be prevented from accessing the branch computers like the Russian branch and the Ally branch and the EOTS or the Japanese branch. And the same, the Russian army IT will not be able to access PCs in the Ally army or the Ally branch and the Japanese branch. So every tier will only be able, the IT will only be able to access the workstations and servers in the branch or in the OU. So for example, our domain admin will be able to access servers in his tier, and the IT in the Russian army will be only able to access servers and workstations in his tier, and the same for the Ally as the same for the Japanese. So if one of the accounts are hacked, so for example, is one of the IT accounts in the Russian army is hacked, the hacker will be only able to access servers and workstations in tier 3 only. He will not be able to access tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 0. And the same will apply for tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 0. So this is we call isolation, or we will call it as separation, and this will help us to limit the effect of hacking. So if a hacker hack one account in one tier, he will only be able to access the workstations in this tier. Okay, and this is one of the things, and we have said that we will prevent every IT to access computers in the other branch. So the Russian army will not be able to access computers in the Ally army or in the Japanese army branch. So if, for example, the Russian IT access one of the computers in the Ally army or the American army, for example, the hacker will be able to know, if one of the hackers hack one of the workstations in the Ally army, he will be able to know the IT account for the Ally army and the IT account for the Russian army, if the IT of the Russian army could be able to access computers in the Ally army. So we will limit, as I said before, we will limit every IT to his servers and his workstations. This will be done using a group policy. So we will use a group policy to prevent the main office IT to be able to access remotely or locally or through network or through remote desktop to any of the workstations in every tier. Okay, so the domain admin will not be able to access remotely the workstations in the Russian army, to access it through the network, or to access it locally, or to access it through the remote desktop, or to access it as a batch job, or to access it as a service account. So all of this will be done using a group policy. So all what we have done until now is to do a couple of procedures to design our Active Directory in a certain way, and to do certain group policies to help to increase our security level, so the hackers will not be able to hack our Active Directory account. And if the hacker hacked an account, he will be able only to access the workstations or the servers in the tier that he hacked. Okay, and another thing here, when you design your Active Directory, you should design it, if you have a branch or have a main office and branches, this should be the design. So you can put your main OUs or your main office OUs in one level, in the top level, and then you can make sub levels from this top level to the branches. Okay, and you need to limit or to give some delegation to every IT in every branch, to give you or to give them some rights, or delegate some rights of the domain admin to every IT in every branch. Okay, so you don't need to, every time there is a user in any branch needs, or for example in the Russian branch, if some users need to be created there, you don't need to use your domain admin account. You will delegate some of your rights to the local IT in the branch. Okay, so he will be the one to create users in his tier. Okay, so this is a kind of delegation, because, or a kind of security, because the domain admin account will not be logged into any workstation in any tier, so the hacker will not be able to know my account. But for the IT in every branch to work in his branch, to make his normal IT process, for example like creating users and computers, I should delegate some of my rights to every local IT in every branch. So this is also a good security standard, not to give every IT in every branch my domain admin account. No, I will create an account for him and delegate some of my domain admin rights to him. Okay, so this is one of the things. So we have discussed this in the previous video. We have separated AD to tiers and zones, and then we deny access for every IT in every tier to access the other tiers computers locally, or network, or batch job, or service, or through remote desktop program. So this we have done in the previous video, and the one before it, all of this we were talking about securing the Active Directory from user credential theft. So what we will do in this video, we all know that we have created in the beginning of the video a workstation called PAW, which is an abbreviation of Privilege Access Workstation. So this workstation will be only used to connect to the domain controllers or to connect to the Active Directory. So the sole object of this workstation is to connect to the Active Directory and to do anything, or to do your IT procedures or things on it. So if the Russian IT needs to connect to the Active Directory and do things on it, to create a user or to create a computer in the Active Directory, in his OU he needs to go to connect through this workstation. This workstation should have a special configuration. It should not be opened, or it should not reach the internet. It will only be used locally. Why we don't get, or we not link this PC to the internet, so any hacker cannot be able to hack it. Okay, so what about the Windows updates and the antivirus updates? All of this will be done using the WSOS. Okay, so WSOS, it's a server. It is a server in our internal network. It will be responsible for accessing the internet and getting the updates and the updates for the Windows and for Microsoft products and for the antivirus, and push it to all of our workstations in the domain. And of course the WSOS will be secured because it should access the internet, so it can be opened for hacking, but we will secure it. Okay, so the POW will be the only workstation allowed to connect to the Active Directory and work on it. So what about if the IT need to do some troubleshooting on one of his workstations in his tier or in his OU? He will use another workstation which could have access to the internet and everything, and he can use it to troubleshoot normal PCs. But if he needs to access the Active Directory or one of the servers, he should use the POW or the Privileged Access Workstation. So this, as I said before, will have some configuration. You should block internet access, you should block USB, you should have certain measures to this POW or Privileged Access Workstation. We have discussed it earlier in the video, or in the beginning of the video or beginning of the playlist, but we will concentrate more on how to secure this Privileged Access Workstation. So in this video, what we will do here, we will create in every tier, okay, we will have two new worker groups, or two new groups in the Active Directory. One, we will call it POW users, and the other will be called POW admins. So we'll have, for example, POW users for the Russian army and POW admins for the Russian army, and then we will have POW users for the Ally army and then POW admins for the Ally army, and then we will have the same IT Japanese POW admins and IT Japanese POW users. So what are these two new groups? Simply any users in the Active Directory that will work on these workstations, it will be put here. So for example, I have 3 IT, so these 3 IT in the Russian army will be put in this group, which is called POW users, and this group will only be allowed to access the POW workstations only. Okay, so this group will be only limited to access these workstations. Okay, so these users, for example, will not be able to access other workstations. Okay, so it will be limited to only accessing these workstations. Okay, so this is one, and these users in this group will only be able to configure the Active Directory. So this group, we will have users in it that will be able to access only the POW workstations, and they will only have the right to configure the Active Directory. So this is POW users. What about POW admins? POW admins, this is users that will be put in this group. They will able to manage the POW itself. So if there is some problems in the workstation, for example, you have a printer you need to add, you need to have some drivers issues or something, so this will be or the one that will be used to do this will be in this group. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. As I said before, this user will be used to manage the Active Directory, and this user or the users in this group will be able to manage the Active Directory, and the users in this group will be able to manage the workstation itself. So if there is a problem in the workstation, a driver or anything related to the workstation, for example a driver issue, a program issue, this the user will be able to do this is the user in this group. So this is very similar to the admin workstation. So this is a group, any user in it will be able to troubleshoot any program in any workstation except for the POW. So these admins will be able to manage anything locally on any workstation in the USSR Army except for the POW. So the POW will have only or we have a specific user to manage it locally or to manage the problems on it. So if the hacker will hack this account, he will be able to manage the workstation locally, but he will not be able to manage the POW workstations because this is done through another user. So we have two groups. The first group, we will put all of the IT users in the Active Directory that I need them to access these three workstations. They will be in a group called IT users, POW users, and then I will have another account. So I will create, we will have an Active Directory, a separate account for every IT, so he can manage his POW workstation. Remember that we have said before that for every IT will be two accounts, one to manage the Active Directory and one to manage the workstations locally except for the POW. And then we will have another user, so every IT will have three users, one to manage the Active Directory, one to manage the workstations in the domain except for the POW, and the third user will be able to manage the POW locally only. So every IT will have three accounts, one to manage the Active Directory, one to manage the workstations except for the POW, and the third one is to manage the POW only. So if the hacker can hack this users in this group, he will be only able to hack the workstations in the domain but not the POW. So the first thing, we will create these two groups and put our IT in it, or put our IT in the first group, and then create an account for every IT to be a POW admin on his workstation. And then we will do a couple of group policies to secure or to harden our connection between the POW and the domain controller or the Active Directory. So we will do a couple of group policies to secure our connection from the workstation to the server. Okay, we will do this. I will show you all what I mean by this, but one by one. Let me begin the lab, or begin how we will do this practically. So first of all, we will go and open the VM Workstation Pro. And then we will open the domain controller. Then we'll pause the video until the domain controller is up. Okay, now it's up and running. Then we will open the POW and power this virtual machine, and then we will pause the video until the workstation is up, and then we will log in with the domain admin account. Okay, and then we will type the username and password. So in this video we'll continue working with the POW. We will secure our POW or workstation more, so the connection to our domain controller, our Active Directory, will be completely secure. Okay, against hackers and against any antivirus or any malware. So this is this is the let me show you all. This is the PDF, not the PDF. This is the guide that I will use to secure my POW or privileged access workstation. So we will use this. This is the URL. You can all use it. It's implementing privileged access workstation. It's 3 parts. So we will work with part 1. This is one that we will work with. So, and we will see that he is saying to us that tier 0 accounts will be only allowed to log into POW. So the tier 0 or the domain admin accounts will be only able to access the POW. This is very normal. And this will create a group for them. So we will have an ORT, for example, my enterprise admin and my administrator will be in the group that I will create, which is called POW users, and they will be only allowed to access workstations in tier 0 or POW workstations in tier 0. And then we will make a group, we'll call it POW maintenance, or let's say POW administrators, and we will create a user for every IT and put it in this group, and this group will be only used to log into the POW workstation locally to manage it or to have administrative rights on it. Okay, so it cannot access the Active Directory. This will only be used to log into the workstation and troubleshoot problems or work as a local administrator on the machine. So we'll have two groups, POW users and POW maintenance, or this is POW admin. POW users will contain tier user accounts, administrator or enterprise admin. So we will do this for every tier. And POW maintenance, we will create a user for every IT, and he will be the local administrator on his POW workstation. We will see that in a moment, so don't worry. We will show you all how this will be done. So now we will go to our global group. Here we will create another group. We will call it IT Global or IT POW Global POW users, IT Global users, okay, or IT POW users global. So this is for our POW workstations in our main branch. So this is it. This is the first one. Okay, and then we will put in it, first we need to put the description. So we'll copy it and then we will add some users, okay, of privilege access workstation. So this is the description of the group, users of privilege access workstation, and these users will be able to access the privilege access workstation to manage the Active Directory. So this is the user rights. The user in this group will be able to access the Active Directory and to access the POW workstation, but only to manage the Active Directory, not to manage the workstation locally. So he's not administrator on the machine. Okay, so now this is it. Now we'll make another group. We will call it POW maintenance, or we can say it POW admin. Okay, so we'll make it IT. Just a moment. IT or UNIT. Okay, POW underscore maintenance. Okay, and then this we can call POW admin, but he call it in the PDF or in the graph or in the guide, he call it POW maintenance. Okay, and BO used for POW maintenance. So maintenance here means troubleshooting the machine, any problem concerning a software or hardware. So you separate managing the workstation or the privilege access workstation from managing the Active Directory. This has two users anyway. So now we'll go and put a description. This we call it maintenance users or admin users or local administrators users of the POW workstation. So now we need to put the members in this group. So in our POW users, we will put our IT or our domain admin account, and in the POW maintenance we will make another new user. We will call it POW maintenance and put it in the POW maintenance group. But just wait for a moment. First of all, we need to go, and then we will put in the POW users, we will add our domain admin account, for example Elon Musk or whatsoever, Karim Raouf. I put my domain admin account. Okay, this is one. I will add my domain admin account. Okay, and the other thing here, I am doing a mistake here. So here I will add another account. This is the domain admin account. So this is the POW user. Okay, so I'll be able to access any POW workstation in my tier. This is one. Here these are the IT local users. We don't need to put them in the power users group. Okay, no, this is a mistake, so don't do it, guys. Only add the domain admin account or the Active Directory IT user account, not the Active Directory user to manage the workstations locally. So this is a mistake. You don't add IT workstation admin. Okay, we will only add the domain admin account or the Active Directory managing user. Okay, so now we will do this, and then we need to create a user for every IT, or one user for all of the IT, to be a local administrator on the POW machines. I prefer for every IT to have an account, not to have one account for all. Or to, if you do this, you need to limit every IT to access only his workstation, so the hacker will be able only to know the IT logging into the machine username and account. Okay, so now we will add the POW. Okay, we'll now call it POW. Okay, we can do it as you like. So this account will be a local administrator account on the POW workstation in the tier 0 level. Okay, so we'll call it POW1, and then we'll put a username and the password. So we'll tell him user must change password. We will just uncheck this. Okay, and then next, and then finish. So okay, this is the POW user, and then we put it in the group called POW maintenance. Okay, just a moment. So now we have done this. We have added the IT to the POW users group, and we make a user, we call it POW maintenance, and put it in the POW maintenance group, which will be the group that will work as a local administrator on the POW machines. So now we need to go and do this for every army. So we'll go to the ally army and then to the IT group and create the two groups. So we'll create two groups. Okay, the same that we have done in the global IT. So we'll create a group, okay, and tell it, okay, and put it as UN ally POW users. Okay, POW users, and we will have POW maintenance. Okay, so just a moment, we'll do this for the ally army. So POW users, and then we will make another group. We will call it, okay, POW maintenance. Okay, or POW admins. Okay, POW admins maintenance, and then we'll create a user, okay, for all of the IT or for every IT to be a POW administrator on his machine. So now we will go just going there and taking the description. Okay, so copy it and put it to the new group that I have made. So now we go to this one and put the description. Okay, and we will do this for the ally. Okay, user privileges workstation ally. Okay, and then this is the maintenance or the local administrators for the POW workstation. Apply and okay, and then we need to put the users. So here we will put the IT members of the ally army or the ally tier. So here, for example, we put Kelvin McDonald. So he is the IT manager. He will be in the POW users group. But we need to first, before doing this, we need to create a user, the local POW or the local administrator POW account. Here we will add Kelvin. Okay, so he will be in the POW users. So he'll be a member to access the POW. So he's simply here saying that every user or every IT will be able to access all of the POW workstations, not only one POW. Okay, but I prefer it to be separately, every POW for every IT. Now we will add Kelvin, okay, Kelvin McDonald. So he is the guy that will be in the POW group, and then we need to have another one, not IT workstation admin, so we only add the domain account, not the user that you have made in the Active Directory to be as a local administrator. So pass this one, we don't need to put the IT workstation admin to this group. Okay, so sorry guys, this is not this is for the POW maintenance. No. Okay, so we will create an account, the POW users. Okay, we only need to have Kelvin. We will not add another thing, so Kelvin will be only the member of this group. We don't need to add local IT accounts here. Okay, so now we will do this, so bypass this one, so IT workstations. So we don't need to add local IT groups or local accounts here. Okay, so now we will have another user, we will call it POW maintenance. So we'll do this here for the Ally, and then we'll do this for the Japanese army, and we'll do this for the Russian army. So we'll do the same, users 2, okay, and then POW, okay, and then POW2 next, and then user must change password, and then we will put a password. Okay, and then we will put this user to be a member of this group. Okay, POW maintenance, so we will add it. Okay, we will add this user to the POW maintenance. First we'll put a description. Okay, apply and okay, and then we will open the group and add this user to the member of Ally. No, we need to do this. Okay, I will repeat the same process for the Japanese army and for the Russian army, so we'll do this for the Russian army as well. Okay, POW users, we will add the Russian army users. Okay, here you go, this is the Russian army users and the POW users group, and skip this one because we will not put IT workstations admin, so we will not put this one. We only will add the IT account, okay, to the POW users. And as for the POW maintenance, here we will create a user, we will call it POW. We have done this before, POW, okay, and then we need to put, just a moment, so here is the POW user for the Russian army, and then we'll put it in the maintenance group. Okay, so this is it. Now we need to go to the group policy to apply some configuration to our POW workstations, additional configurations. So here we will go and create something called POW configuration computer. We will create a group or a group policy. We will call it POW configuration for every army. So we'll have a POW configuration for every computer in every tier, for every POW computer in every tier. So now we will tell him right click and then new, and then we tell him POW configuration computer, and then we will make it for the Ally army, not global, we put it for the Ally army. So we'll do this for the Ally army. This will be the POW configuration computer for the Ally POW workstations. Okay, so now we will tell him okay, and then we'll begin working on it. I think I will rename it anyway, so edit. So now we will apply this work group, or sorry, this group policy to our POWs in the POW workstation in the Ally army. Okay, so now what we will do here, we will do something here. He will ask us to go to local users and groups, and then click on something called local groups. Let me show you all what he mean by this. But when we click on it, so here what he will do, he will call local users and groups, and then we will tell him right click and local group. Okay, and then what this PDF will ask, or what this guide will ask us here, there is local groups every workstation, okay, will have some local groups in created in it. So there is Active Directory groups and there is local groups. Okay, so the local groups in every workstation, these are created by default when you install Windows. So one of the things what we will do, we need the administrators or the local administrator group in every POW workstation. We need to delete all of the members in it. So if there is any members in the local administrators group in the POW workstation, we will delete all of the members and all of the groups, and we will add only the IT or the POW user or the IT user in the tier and the POW administrator. So we will have two users that will be in the local administrators group in the sorry guys, we will have only the POW administrator to be in the administrators group and the default administrator account. Okay, so what we will do, we will make a group policy to delete all of the members in the local administrators group, and then put the POW administrator that we have called it POW maintenance to be a member of this group, and by default the administrator account, this is an account created by default when you install Windows, it will be a member of this group. So we will have these two users. We'll have our POW maintenance user as a member of the administrator group and the default administrator account to be a member of the administrators group. So by doing this, the POW administrator will be a local administrator on the machine, but he will not be able to access the Active Directory. So now we will do this. We'll go there and tell him administrator. So we tell him update, and then we'll go to administrators. So what are these? Are all of the built-in groups in any workstation. So you have administrators, you have anonymous, you have backup operators, we have discussed this before, printer operators, server operators, account operators, all of this we have discussed before. So we need to make sure that all of the local groups on every POW workstation, we need to be sure of the members in these groups, or to make it without members as the guide will say. So first of all, we need to make sure that the administrator's local group in the POW workstations to have only two members in it, the POW maintenance user and the default administrator account. So let's do this. So go to administrator, and we will test all of this, by the way, so don't worry, we will test all of this. So now we will go to administrators, and then we will tell him to delete all members, okay, like this, and then we will add. Okay, by the way guys, you need only to add the POW maintenance user. You don't need to add a local administrator because he will do this by default. So you need only to add the POW maintenance. The local or the default administrator account, you don't need to add it because he will not delete it. Okay, so we will leave only, or need to add only the POW maintenance user. Okay, so we'll do this. So this is one of the security measures. Here you need to make sure that only certain users to access the POW. Okay, so now here we will tell him add, and then we will add the administrator. This is not right guys, because this administrator, it is the administrator of the domain. Okay, so this is not correct. This is not the local administrator. As for the POW, this is correct. Okay, so we need to remove the administrator. This is the administrator of the domain. This is not the local administrator on the machine. Okay, so this is not correct. You don't need to add it. You need to remove this. Okay, so now we will add the POW or the global or the maintenance, but this is not for the ally army. This is for the main branch. Anyway, we work with the same concept. So here it is POW. Okay, so this is for the POW workstations in the main branch. So I think this is not correct. We need to add POW 2, which is in the ally army. So this will be done to the ally army. Anyway, this can be done to any POW in any tier. Okay, so you need to do the same steps. So here we will go to administrators, and then we have a couple of things here. We need to make sure that, okay, so here he's telling us that this is the administrators or the local administrators group. We have let him, or we are telling him that we need certain users to be members of this group. Okay, I think we can pass this real quickly here. So here again, just a moment guys. So here, let's go there again. So here, like this, POW2, I think POW2, anyway, just wait for a moment, let me show you. We'll put POW2. Okay, I think we'll pass it, just a moment, cancel. So I think we need to know the POW. So here, this is for the POW. We will go to the group, and it is POW2. Okay, so this is POW2. Okay, not this is POW2. Okay, so we need to, this is IT. So this is not correct. Just a moment guys, this is not correct. So at the end we need not this one, we need the POW maintenance user for the ally army. This is not POW1, it is POW2, and we will remove this one. We need only one user. Okay, and then we'll go and continue. So here we really need to remove these two and only leave the POW maintenance user. Okay, so after that the guide tells us that you need to have some groups or some local groups on the POW workstation to not have any members in it. So for example, if we go further here, he will ask us that you have, for example, the remote desktop users. You need to make sure that there are no members in this group. Okay, so you cannot access the POW workstation remotely. You needed to access it locally from the machine or physically from the machine. Okay, so we need to make sure that the remote desktop users or local remote desktop users group not to have any members in it. The replicators, this is one of the local groups on the machine. I don't know what is the what this group is for, but you can search the internet to know it. So we will have, for example, backup operators. We need to remove any members in this local group on the machine. We know all what is local backup operators. I have discussed this before. Cryptic operations, this is I think for decrypting or encrypting data. We need also to make sure that are no members in this group. And the network configuration operators also, I think this is related to making some changes in the network configuration, the members. So we have all of these groups are local groups on the POW workstation and on any workstation that have Windows 10 installed on it. We need to make sure that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these groups doesn't have any members in it. Okay, only the administrator will have members in this group, which is the POW maintenance user. So this is one of the things. So here we will go and begin working with this one. So these are all security measures. We need only certain local groups on the POW workstation to have certain members in it. Okay, so now we will do this. I think we can pass this real quickly also. Not administrator, this is not correct. So we need only to add the POW maintenance user. It's POW2. Yes, this is it. This is the POW for the ally army. So we will do this for the ally army. Okay, so we need to remove it. This is the POW maintenance user. Okay, and this is it. Then we need to continue working with the other groups. So now new and then local group. Okay, first we need to apply and okay. Okay, so we need to go and do as the guide says. So now we delete all users. Now we will need to go and make sure the backup operators no members in this group and the other ones. So now think we have other things. So we have all of the groups, so I think we'll put a description anyway. So we need to make sure that the local backup operators group on the machine doesn't contain any members, the POW workstation. Okay, so now we'll do this. What is administrator? Here I'm trying to add the local administrator on the machine, but this will not work anyway, so we can pass this real quickly anyway. So no guys, anyway, so we will continue. Now we will continue working. Here we will go again, and this is the administrator. We need to begin working with the other groups. So now we will go and continue working. So administrator is finished. We need to go and make the backup operators. Okay, so we'll go here and tell him backup operators, local group, and then we'll tell him update, and then backup operators, okay, or cryptic, and then delete members. So we'll do this for every group. Okay, so this is the cryptic, and then we'll do this for the backup operators. So we are making sure that there are no members in these important groups. Only the administrator group will contain certain users. So these are security measures to harden the POW. Okay, so now we'll make backup operators, and then we can go further. Okay, so now again. So here we'll go to the power users. So all of these, as I said before, we have all of them delete members and groups. So we have done this. Now let's go to configuring the group policy. We need to do certain things. First of all, we need to allow login locally to the POW workstation to certain users. So we'll do this. We will allow only the POW users group to access the POW workstation, and the POW maintenance users to access the workstation. So we have two groups in the Active Directory, the one that we have created earlier. We need these two groups only to access the POW workstation. So the POW users will access the workstation to manage the Active Directory, and the POW maintenance will access the workstation to manage it locally, or to manage or to troubleshoot problems on it. So now we will go and do this. So let's go and add it, login locally. So okay, just a moment. Here I'm just revising what I have done. Okay, so we have done all of this. Now we need to go and continue. So we need to manage or to allow login locally to the POW users group and the POW admins group, or the POW maintenance group. And of course we know what are the members of these groups. Okay, so we will do this. Okay, this will be local administrators of POW device, which are the POW maintenance and the POW users. Okay, so we need to go and log in locally. So here, just a moment guys, so here we'll go to the allow login locally. So this is the POW configuration, and then we'll go to security. Okay, POW configuration, and go to the local policies. Okay, and then I think security options. Okay, maybe user assignment, login locally. Here we need to define that the POW users group and the POW maintenance group will be able to access this workstation. And of course the administrator, this is the local administrator. You don't need to add it, okay, by the way, because it will be added already, I think. Okay, this is the administrators. Okay, this is the local administrators group on the machine. So this is it. And then we need to add the POW users for the ally army. So this is one. No, I think we need to remove it. I think this is already done already. So this is administrators. I think, just a moment. Okay, I think guys, this is not the administrators local group. This is for the domain admin. Anyway, we will add it and we will test it later. So now we will add it, and then I think this is for the domain admin. Okay, this is for the domain admin. Anyway, we will follow the guide, and then we will add the IT POW, not the ally IT POW. We have the POW, not this one. I think we have the POW, not this one anyway. So it's the POW. It's IT POW or the POW. Okay. So we'll log in the administrators or the local administrators and the POW users for the ally. So this will only be the two groups will be able to access this workstation. So we can go further. This is not the ally POW, it is IT POW. Just a moment. It's POW or UN or POW. Just a moment. So we have POW maintenance. This is the user, not the group. So we need to know the group. If we go to the ally, okay, this is POW users. We need to add this group. Okay. So this is will be the only group to access this workstation. So no any other user in the domain can access it. Okay. So we'll add here POW. Okay, UN IT ally and then POW. So this is the POW users. Okay, this is it. Okay, we'll do this, and then the administrators, and then this is to limit to access of only two groups, the POW users and the POW maintenance, which are, by the way, POW maintenance are members of the administrators or the local administrators group. Okay, so we'll do this. I think we can pause this also real quickly here. So here I think, yes, just a moment. Here this, as I said before, we will allow certain users to access the POW, and then we need to have a certain firewall policy. So as I said before, the POW will not be able to access the internet, okay, and we will have the USB blocked on it. But sometimes some admins have Azure cloud or have Azure machines on the internet he need to access to manage it. So this guide have some policy that you could apply to your POW. So we have a certain policy to block, for example, certain websites, or to block everything except for the Azure panel or something. So here we have a ready-made group or a ready-made firewall policy that you can apply to your POW workstation. So we will download it and apply it. So here is the link. We'll do this, and this firewall policy will be applied using a group policy. So this is the POW firewall policy. It will block certain, or I will show you all what this firewall will do. So this is Windows firewall policy, especially done for the privileged access workstations. So now we will put it and import it. Okay, just a moment. So we have limit access to the POW for certain groups, the one that we have said before, and then we need to import this firewall group policy. Okay, we will copy it, and then we will go and add it to the group policy. So we'll put it on the desktop, and then we will import it. Right click and paste. Okay, I will go there and we will continue working with the group policy. So now we go to the firewall, Windows Defender firewall, okay, and then import the group policy or the firewall group policy, and we will see what this group policy contains. So we'll tell him import, or we will get here and tell him import the group policy or import policy. Okay, we'll tell him import the policy, and then yes, it will write every policy. You need to import the policy, okay, and go to the desktop and have this policy applied. Apply or open, and let's see what this group policy contains. So it is imported. So if you can see here that if you go a little bit further here, after importing the group policy, let's see here what does it contain. So if you apply the group this firewall policy, here we can see, just a moment, here we can see that the firewall on the domain profile is on, the private profile the firewall is on, the public profile the firewall is on, and will be some limitation for the inbound and outbound connection. Let's see what this firewall policy block. So here we can see, after applying the group policy, the firewall policy, we'll see that it will allow certain services to run or to bypass the firewall. So if you go to inbound, here we can see, for example, that it's allowing, for example, the IP version 6 protocol. It is allowing the internet connection sharing, or the HSP service, or the HSP, this is related to the HSP service, and router or something. Here is this is are allowed only. I think this is are all normal services that you can allow, and in the outbound we will see that it blocks internet. Let's see what is the outbound rules. These are all rules done by the group policy. And then outbound, for example, here it is block HTTP and HTTPS. This is to block the internet, okay, from this PAO workstations, and we will see how we can override this this rule by doing some or simple change. Okay, we will do it. So anyway, this to block HTTP and HTTPS connection, so this will block the internet, and it allow other things. For example, it allow RDP. This is to connect from it's an outbound, to connect from the PAO to the server. So this is only to connect remotely inside the network, not from outside. And DNS and a couple of things. So this is some of the rules we can see here. And then here is the group policy that we have configured earlier. This is a group policy to concerning the WSOS. So the updates of Windows will reach the PAO workstation through the WSOS. We have done this before. We have configured this group policy before in the default domain policy to allow the PAO workstation and all of the workstations to get their Windows updates from the WSOS. Okay, so we will do this. We have done this already, so we don't need to do it again. We have done this, and we have already told them the WSOS, and then you can back up the group policy after that. After finishing all of the configuration, you can back up this group policy, and then we will link it to the PAO organizational unit, or link it to the PAO workstations. So we'll do this now. So we have done the group policy. We need to link it. Okay, so now we need to go and link this group policy. So now what we will do, we need to go and link this. So here is the okay, we need first to link the PAO configuration computer group policy. We need to link it first, okay, because there is another PAO users group policy. So this is for the computers, or group policy for the PAO computers, and the group policy for the PAO users. So need first to link this group policy. So here is the let me go to the ally army, okay, and the command center, and then for the IT, then we need to link for every PAO. This is the computer, so we will link the PAO, or we will go here and link the PAO, okay, the one that we have configured, the PAO configuration, sorry, here we link it to the PAO organizational unit, the PAO yes, PAO computer configuration. We will link it here, and link it here, and link it here. Okay, so we link it to the PAO organizational unit. We do this for the PAO 1 and PAO 2. Okay, so we need to do this. We rename it not to global, it will be ally. Okay, so this is it, it will be ally, and then we will link it to every PAO organizational unit. So we have linked it to PAO. Okay, this is the PAO ally. So here it goes. This is PAO ally. okay, and then POW1 and POW2. So you need to link it, okay, to POW1. So all of this will be done to the POW workstation in the Ally Army, okay. So right click and then link existing GPO, and then we will do this, and then we need to configure another group policy for the users of the POW. We will see what this group policy will contain. It will block internet access to certain users on the POW. So you can allow certain users on the POW to get internet. So all of the other users that are not POW users or not in the POW users group will not be able to access the internet. As for the POW users, they can access certain things on the internet, for example Azure cloud or something, but not all of the internet, okay. So we will see that in a moment. Here we will go and we'll configure the Ally users or POW configuration Ally user, and then edit. We will begin configuring the group policy. So now we go and configure it. We'll have another group policy. We will, here this is to prevent users from browsing the internet by enabling proxy. So here this is a group policy to prevent users or POW users from accessing the internet, okay. So this is it, okay, except for certain groups. So for example, you have IT in the Russian tier, they can not access the internet, but some other users in the USSR branch are called cloud administrators. So for example, you have an Azure machines on the internet and you need to access them remotely, you can make an exception. So all of the POW users will not be able to access the internet, but only the Azure administrators would be able to access the internet. So this is it. We will do this limitation, or we will do this configuration through a registry key by adding a proxy. So we will block internet through adding a proxy, and it will be 127.0.0.1. So we will do a registry key to block internet access, okay, to the POW users except for the Azure administrators, okay. So now we'll go there and tell him registry key, and then next registry key, and then we will add, here we see that we will add this registry key will block internet access, okay, by adding a proxy or by adding a virtual proxy, which is 127.0.0.1. So now we will add this, okay. We'll go to this registry key, which is internet setting proxy. So we'll go there and tell him internet setting from the current user. So if we can go here, this is for the current user, and then we will tell him to block internet. Now here this is internet setting and this is the proxy. So we'll tell him this is proxy enable, and we will make this proxy 127.0.0.1. so this is to block internet by enabling proxy, okay. So here we will go there and add proxy, and then we will add 127.0.0.1, but we need first to apply this proxy setting to POW users and to exempt or to get the administrator or the Azure administrators from it, okay. So now we will go and put the proxy, which is this is enable proxy, and then we will have another setting to specify the proxy IP, okay. So now we will go and tell him current user, and then we will go to the setting that we are talking about. So here now we will go and tell him, just a moment, we'll go to the clicking for Microsoft Internet Explorer, I think, and then we will add the proxy Internet Explorer Windows, and then current version, I think, and then we'll go to the internet setting. Yes, here it goes, and then okay, and then here we'll put the enable proxy, so it will be here, okay. So we tell him okay, and then enable proxy, sorry guys, and then we will add proxy enabled, and then we will put 1 to activate the proxy, and then we will specify the proxy to be 127.0.0.1. If you need to block internet access for any user, you can do this by enabling proxy and specify the proxy to be 127.0.0.1. Now we need to block the internet for a certain group, okay, or we will say that any user that is not a member of the Azure administrators group, okay, will be blocked from accessing the internet. So remove this item when it is no longer applied, and item target levelizing. So here we will say that a certain or the Azure's administrators active directory group, if anyone is not a member of this group, he will be blocked from accessing the internet. So here you specify a certain group in the active directory to access the internet, okay, not all of them, okay, and only to access the internet to access the Azure cloud or the Azure platform to manage remote virtual machines, okay. So now we'll tell him item, or we tell him add item. It is not, so the user is not a member of the security. If so, anyone who is not a member of the Azure administrators or a certain group, he will be blocked from accessing the internet. Here I have internet admin. I have a group in the active directory called internet admin. These are a group that I allow access the internet without limits. So I tell him if anyone is not a member of the internet admins or the internet administrators group, he will not be able to access the internet. So here is ally. Let me show you all here. We have a group called ally internet admin. So if the IT is not a member of this group, he will not be able to access the internet, okay. He is not a member of this group, okay. So now we tell him apply and okay. So now we have done this, but we need to specify the proxy. So we have done for this specify a proxy, and then we need to add another, or to add the proxy server IP. So this to enable the proxy, and then to add another registry key called the proxy server, the IP for the proxy. So now we will go and apply it. So we need to tell him to replace, okay, this is the one, apply and okay, and then we'll make another registry key and specify the proxy, which will be 127.0.0.1. We'll go to the proxy server. Okay, this is the registry key. So as I said before, if you need to block internet access for any user, you can specify a proxy server of 127.0.0.1. So you can enable proxy using a group policy and enable proxy server and put the IP address of 127.0.0.1. So now we'll go and add Windows again and current version, and then we will add the internet setting and then select, and then we will add proxy server and then specify 127.0.0.1 double dots 80. So this will block the internet access, okay, for any user who is not a member of a certain group. So D word, and then we will put 127. So we will copy it. Okay, 127.0.0.1 double dot 80, and then we'll do the same. We will apply it to the internet admins group. Okay, so we'll do this 127. Okay, 127.0.0.1 double dot 80, and then we will apply it to the users who are not member of the ally internet admin group. So now we'll do this. Okay, we need to go and apply it. We'll go to the common, and then we need to remove it when it's no longer applied on item target levelizing, and then add the group again, security group, and then we'll tell him is not a member of, the user is not a member of a certain group. Okay, we'll tell him UN ally IT admin or internet admin. So we'll go there and then apply and OK, and then we will link this group policy to the POW organizational unit. So we'll go there and continue, Here also we need to, if after putting the proxy, we need to prevent the user from changing the proxy setting, so he can, for example, remove the proxy. So we don't need this. We need to disable proxy setting changes. So we need to also do this using a group policy. So we'll prevent the user from changing the proxy setting, because he can unchange it, or he can change the proxy setting and he can be able to access the internet again. So we need to go and prevent this. So we go to the Windows components and then go to the internet options, or Internet Explorer, and disable proxy change, or disable changing automatic configuration setting. This is related to the proxy setting changes. So we'll tell him disable proxy, or disable automatic proxy changing, or disable automatic setting change. Yes, automatic configuration setting. Here is this one. So this setting, just a moment, if we can go a little bit further here. Just a moment. So this setting automatically detect the proxy server, so used to connect to the internet. So we have enabled the proxy, okay, and this is and it's the PC will automatically check the proxy. If we disable this, or if the user can go and tell him not to detect the proxy server setting automatically, he can put a static IP, or he can put another proxy. So here we need to enable or disable changing automatic configuration setting to disable the user from tamper with the proxy server setting. So we'll do this and tell him apply. Okay, so we need to enable it, and then prevent proxy setting change. So we'll do both of these: disable changing automatic configuration setting and changing proxy setting. So by doing this, we prevent the user from changing the proxy server setting. Okay, so now we go there and disable proxy setting, or disable changing, or prevent changing proxy setting. So we'll enable. So now we have put the proxy setting, and we prevent the user from changing this proxy setting. So now we need, I think, to link it, so we can back up the group policy, and then we need to link it to the POW organizational unit. Okay, and the last thing, something called restrict workstation login. I think I will tell you all what is this about, but let me first link the group policy, or the users group policy. First of all, we need to link it so we can go further here. So here is the, just a moment, again we need first to go and I think to link the users. So we have done, we need to link the users group or group policy. And then remember, we have in the previous videos, we have configured the group policy to prevent IT from every tier to access workstations in the other tier. This also should apply to the POW. So we have done this before. So all we have to do is to configure the POW computer group policy and the users, or the POW users group policy, and then this is it, and we will work with the group policies that we have done before. Let me pass this real quickly. So just a moment, let me go there and POW, just a moment, I think this is the accounts, I think. Okay, what we will do here, guys, first of all, we need to go and put all of the POW. So we will go to every organizational unit and we will create, so here we'll go to the ally and we will create a organizational unit. We will call it users and we will put the POW users in it. So now we will go, so we can link the POW users GPO to it. So now we will go and right click and create a new organizational unit. We will call it users or POW users. Let me show you all here what we'll say. We call it POW users or accounts. This is an organizational unit that will contain the POW users account. Okay, so now we'll go to the IT and then I need to get Kelvin. Okay, he will be a POW user. I will put him in the accounts organizational unit and apply the POW group policy to it, POW users group policy to it. So now we will go and take POW maintenance users and Kelvin, all of these are users that will access the POW. We will put it here, okay, and then we will apply the group policy to it. So I think we can pass it real quickly here, just a moment. So we'll move them. So I think I will only move Kelvin, okay, I'll move Kelvin, and we need only to move Kelvin. He is the one that will access the POW workstation, and then apply the POW users group policy to it. So now we will go there and then right click. So here is Kelvin. This is the organizational unit that will contain the POW users, okay, and after that I will link the group policy to it. So now we can go down and then can link the users or the POW users. We need to refresh first, so we need to refresh it, okay, and then go there and link the users. I think we need to open it or refresh, okay, right click and refresh, and then we will go there and we link the POW, okay, we go to ally and then command center and then apply our POW users group policy to the accounts. This contains the POW users, okay, so we link an existing GPO and then we will link the POW ally users, okay. So we'll do this, and then as for the restrictive, and after that we have a group policy to restrict access of IT from every tier to the other IT workstations. We have done this. So we have three parts: POW users group policy, and POW computers group policy, and restrict access group policy, and this will be done for the to restrict access to the workstation. Let me show you. We have done this before. I've done all of this. I think we don't need any one of these things, so I can pass this all of it, okay. So I think this restrict, said before, restrict login. Remember, let me show you all something here. So we remember that we have created a group policy on every organizational unit to limit access of the IT to only its organizational units or to only computers. We have done this in a previous video, so we don't need to do this again. So I think, let me show you all. So we have done this, okay, and so we will take a snapshot after that from our domain controller, and this is the end of our video. Hope this was informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.